Right, yeah. File sharing, which is what made possible email and FTP, and then all the technologies, HTML that you read about. You read the reading, HTML and browsers and so on and so forth that made possible. Those all contribute. They give you the internet. Then you have this problem of applications, because as we see, the internet is not one thing. There's a lot of ways to think about it. Is email an application of the internet, or is it an application of FTP, or is it a genre of communication? I don't know how to say that. I don't know what the answer is to those questions. It's probably instructive to think about it. But you could say, well, the web and mobile are different things. That's what the New York Times does. But if you're talking about applications, I mean, they're doing a lot of the same things. You're getting your email on both of them. You're downloading movies on both of them. You're buying sneakers on both of them. You're networking with your friends on both of them. So why do we think of those as different applications if they're doing the same things ultimately? I don't think, again, that there are easy answers to these. You can structure some kind of matrix in which you put all these things. It's probably multidimensional. There are probably a lot of empty cells in it, a lot of cells that have too much stuff in it. But there's no easy way to say this is the internet and here's its relationship to all these things. Things get, as I keep saying, very complicated at this point. We also saw when we looked at earlier technologies like photography, like photography and broadcast in particular, that these technologies respond to multiple influences. This is the point we've been at pains to make throughout the semester, that these are technology is not the driver, it's just one of the drivers, and that the way these things fall out depends on government decisions and the state, legal considerations, which are part of the state often. They depend on the technology itself, on commercial interest. Remember in the case of broadcast, we talked about this battle in various countries about whether it would be advertisers or the state that would subsidize it. In the U.S., after some indecision, it was decided by 1927 that radio would be a commercial venture funded essentially by advertising rather than funded as the BBC was by contributions by the state or a state-run organization. By public opinion, and by public opinion we include not just what the public thinks, although that's obviously important, but the numerous non-governmental organizations that are parts of civil society that may have an interest in deciding what goes on. If you have a question of what you can say on the radio, a group like the American Civil Liberties Union might come in, and they're representing a certain body of public opinion in an institutionalized way. And those non-governmental bodies are, say, secondly, very important when we come to the internet. And finally, just the cultural setting. And I'll talk about that at the very end again, but just what people do and what people like to do. The way in which, for example, Facebook is used isn't going to be determined just by the technology, the government, the bodies like the ICANN and so on and so forth, and the economics. It's a question of what undergraduates in America at an upper-tier school want to do with their free time. And I assume this is not free time, but I don't know. So when we come to the internet, and I'm going to continue to use that just to amuse myself, in particular, this becomes very marked, this interaction. There's a lot, the French linguist Antoine Milly once said that every language is un système où tout se tient, a system in which everything is connected, everything else. That's the internet, a system in which all is connected. There's a relationship then between the states and the governments who have lots of interest in controlling and determining what's said, what can be done there, and what you can post or what the technical requirements will be. The technology and infrastructure obviously enormously important in determining how it's used and what it looks like. Economics, commerce, the Googles and Facebooks and Cisco's of the world obviously have an interest in this as well. Public opinion and civil society, by which I mean all these organizations from ICANN, which is sort of semi-public but not really a state body, to various kinds of watchdog organizations that try to look after the public interest, and as I said, the public setting. When we get there to talk about the way the internet is used in places like Ghana, you'll see how much that cultural setting changes the way in which it's used. We had a couple of weeks here I can't remember her name, Vera Birkova, I think. I can't remember. I'm embarrassed. We had a session over at the iSchool. I was the moderator. The director general of UNESCO was there. Michael, I saw you there. Anybody else from here come to that? Yeah. So you remember that? Do you remember what her name was? No. You would have got the bumper stick. No. Deirdre Mulligan, who's a professor in our department, a lawyer, legal scholar, who works on these issues of privacy and governance and so forth. Zhang Xi, who is a very interesting character, a Chinese dissident, was a physicist, left China after Tiananmen, has been very active in sort of dissident, I guess, activities outside China. There is, for those who are interested in China, the China Digital Times, that is a site that he puts up. It's one-stop shopping if you're interested in Chinese politics, culture, whatever. I recommend it. It's a terrific site. And Nicole Wong, who was, recently she took off to look after her kids, but she was until recently the vice president at Google, lawyer, also, who was described as Google's Secretary of State. It was her job to, when, for example, some Greeks put up a website that depicted Kemal Atatürk, the founder of modern Turkey, and a hallowed figure in Turkey, as homosexual, the Turks were outraged. It's against the law to say anything negative about Atatürk in Turkey. They took down Google. So she gets a call at like 2 in the morning, and she has to deal with that and figure out how to respond to what they could and couldn't do, and so on. That was what she did over and over and over again in all these areas, at a point at which law, government, technology, commercial interests all intersect. And that was what was so striking, I think, if you listen to this, how quickly these discussions of issues like privacy, access, free speech become incredibly wonky. You're really interested in the subject, and then your eyes are glazed over. Why are they wonky? Well, because there are all these different sectors. There are certain people who are primarily interested in the technology and standards. Other people are interested in protecting the nations or protecting their national sovereignty, being able to restrict or control what goes out over the internet. Civil society, civil organizations have other interests. UNESCO, these international organizations have other interests. Ordinary people have other interests. And these interact in very complicated ways. A decision about internet name protocols, for example, name standards, has political and social implications. It may, for example, make it easier or harder for a government to block stuff and block selectively certain things, or find out who's posting something. So these are very complicated, and the issues are more and more important, obviously, as the internet becomes more and more important as a social and political force. A system where all is connected. The technical basis of the web. I'm going to go through this quite quickly. You had communications protocols, packet switching. Packet switching is just. Do you want to talk about Paul? You talked about the packet. That's why it was the packet boats were these boats that went back and forth. That you put letters. You write a letter into several versions. And in fact, I'm going to jump around here, I think. When in 1969, the Ur ancestor of the internet, ARPA, or DARPA, ARPA was called at that time, creates the ARPANET. This is a network that enables computers at the Defense Department and a number of research, small number of research universities. When that's created, it's created with an architecture that makes use of packet switching rather than just sending a whole message down the same line. And why is that? It's because this is going to be a system that's distributed and so not vulnerable to attack in one place. You can't take down the whole system by putting a bomb in any one place because these packets are all over the place. Paul Barron at the RAND Corporation, a think tank in Santa Monica, California, in 1964, now we're going way back, writes an important internal memo called Distributing Communications, in which he outlines these various possibilities. This is from that original paper. And packet switching, the one on the right, you can see is the one that's distributed. You can just see from the diagram. That's the one where there's no node you can hit with a bomb and take out. So the ARPANET is created. I'm going to jump back and forth here. Along with the physical networks themselves, you just need pipes. Who was the senator who thought they were really pipes? Tubes, right? Who was it? Do you remember? What's his name? It was Ted Stevens, yeah, tubes. Yeah. Hello, like in department stores, they have these things. Hello. An addressing system, a naming system, first TCP/IP, and then domain names that made it names accessible to ordinary users. The protocols that the HTTP. Berners-Lee said recently, I think, he said, when I think back on it, we didn't really need those two backslashes. I said, sorry about that. Right? How many gazillion keystrokes could have been saved if he thought of that? It's another half hour thinking about browsers and graphical browsers, which we'll come to also, search and indexing, which Paul talked about, broadband, and so on. There's a number of technological developments that are all going to contribute to get us to where we are today. And I'm not going to talk about mobile today, these other technologies. There's first the business of communicating between machines. It actually begins with time sharing. The PC, really isn't until the 1970s that anybody has an idea of a PC. The model is going to be that there's going to be this humongous mainframe sitting somewhere, and we're going to sit on terminals and talk to it, and that involves a kind of communication with the terminal. After a while, we're going to say, well, how can we talk from how can one machine talk to another? How can somebody on machine A talk to somebody on machine B? Initially, and I'll mention this in a second, it's really a question, how can your computer talk to your printer? How can you have that conversation? But there are earlier, again, this is Paul's insight, I didn't think of it. There are earlier anticipations of that in, for example, the stock ticker, which is developed in the middle of the 19th century. Anybody ever actually seen ticker tape? You know why it's called ticker tape? Yeah, and remind me your name. And you know why it's called ticker tape? You know why, according to the ticker, that expression when you listen to, financial news on the... Well, there's ticker tape. There's this tape, and there's a ticker, right? And it transmits stock prices automatically by phone lines, by telegraph first, and then by phone lines, I think, because it anticipates to a machine that has a tape, and the tape goes by, and it prints stock prices. I don't know what companies were still around. Procter & Gamble maybe was around then, 55 and a quarter, and so on and so forth. And it used to be in my youth. I remember going with my parents, went to Florida, and people, they didn't have the internet. If you're one of these people with lots of time on your hands and a portfolio you want to look after, you would go to the office of Merrill Lynch or whatever in somewhere in Florida. A great number of gentlemen of a certain age in white shoes would be sitting there all looking at this ticker tape as it came out with the prices on it. But it was a means of communicating from one machine to another. It was really a telegraph that could print its messages. The Ethernet, I'll come to in a second, becomes the way of doing that in the modern world. And then, of course, the ARPANET, which I mentioned. In 1971, it's first established using the packet switching methods that enable it to be distributed between a bunch of West Coast universities, Berkeley and Stanford among them, and UCLA and University of Chicago, a bunch of East Coast universities, but all high-powered research universities. By 1987, it is really the Internet, a network of networks, because the ARPANET is one network, and there are other networks that are connected to it. So that you can talk about a network of networks, and hence the Internet, although that's the sense, as I said, that Wikipedia gives to it, although it's not clear whether it makes a lot of sense to continue to think of it as essentially that. All of this made simpler by the development of new technologies like FTP, file transfer protocol, which makes it easier to send a file from one place to another, which, after all, is what you're going to need if you're going to send email. What's email but a file? An email but a file. Send it from your machine to your machine. Originally, of course, it was thought of as a means of sending programs from one machine to another, not of sending personal messages. But it very rapidly becomes that. I'll come to that in a second. TCP is basically the set of protocols that enable machines to look at messages, decide where to send them. Google them, you'll find out more about it. The Ethernet itself, developed at Xerox PARC, where I keep talking about Paul and I were both there at one point. Along with the PC, this is the Alto, 1973, really the first personal computer. It was pretty good. I didn't have an Alto. I had a Dandelion. This was a bit later on, but this was in the early mid-'80s, and it was as good as anything Mac would have until early 2000s. Really. It was slower. It didn't have as much memory, but it was terrific. In fact, the software was invented by the same people who later went on to invent the Mac. Charles Simonyi, who did the text edit system at Xerox PARC, went from there to Microsoft, became employee number 11 or whatever, and did Microsoft Word. But it was based on that. And these were really standalone computers. The visionary who behind this was a guy named Alan Kay, more than anybody else. Along with them was developed the programming language Smalltalk, considered the first object-oriented programming language. If you don't know what that is, take a course in it. And Bob Metcalfe, another of the researchers there, develops the Ethernet as a wired means of communicating between these standalone personal computers and of talking to the printers. Metcalfe leaves there, goes on to found 3Com, leaves 3Com in unclear circumstances. We became a venture capitalist ultimately, I think. But he gives us the Ethernet, which is more than enough for one career. It just grows. It grows in the sense that commercial networks start to emerge. The naming protocols, which are fairly, which are IP numbers, are not an efficient way to go about finding things and remembering things and so on. So the DNS, the domain name system is introduced, the .coms and the .nets and so on and so forth, introduced in the early 1980s. And you got these name servers. You hand it Nunberg@berkeley.edu, and it gives you an IP address, or gets you to me. It gets you to a server that gets you to me, actually. You begin to get internet service providers, commercial internet service providers, and other countries starting to come on. you begin to get these organizations like the Internet Society, the World Wide Web Consortium later that are involved in fixing standards. ICANN is established, as I say, it's not really governmental, but as it happens, the head of ICANN is always an American, and he's always going to be an American. It just works out that way. That looks after domain names and IP addresses. And I say these are all issues with important political and social implications. Email, 1971. This is the trajectory followed by the first email message. It's the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and that's the single step. Ray Thompson says he has no idea what the first message, something like ABCDIOU or something. He had no idea what it was. It was inconsequential, and says, "Oh, I forgot it. You'd like to know now." And shortly after that, you get a real MSG is developed at for message, not for I'm sorry, it's developed at UCLA. It's the first email client that allows you to do things like reply and forward and CC and so on. The World Wide Web. You talked about Bush. You talked about most of this. I'm just going to skip it. You get the first browsers really not until the early 90s. This is the first web page from Berners-Lee's system. Shortly after that, you get graphical browsers, Mosaic and then Netscape and so on and so forth. David Levy was a colleague of ours at Park, was now teaching at Washington. We had Berners-Lee by Park before any. I mean, in 1989, he gave a talk at Park, and Larry Macintyre, who's now at Adobe, brought him in, and David said, "Well, I looked at it. I had this World Wide Web thing. I saw a big deal as a graphical interface for FTP. No, I don't see much of a future in it." Well, who did? Paul talked about the gated communities of the original internet service providers like AOL, CompuServe, and Prodigy. They're giving you connectivity, and then they've got all their own games and chat rooms and instant messaging, so that you can use with other people. It isn't until the late 80s really that you can talk to somebody. Either you have to belong to all of them, or there's one, I think, I can't remember the first one was maybe CompuServe, was it, that allowed you to get out. There wasn't one of them allowed you to get out into the internet itself. When the internet hits in the early 90s, these companies are not ready for it. That chart, you used to get these in your mail, you used to get, I would say, 7 of these a week, these free CD-ROMs enabling you to you install AOL, and probably if you kept them around, they'd be like Beanie Babies. That's something that worth a lot on the Antiques Roadshow, but there were gazillions of them. That chart on the lower left shows the subscription base of AOL between 2001 and 2009. As I say, they weren't ready for this. They struggled. They were bought in 2000 for an astronomical price just before the crash by Time Warner. One of the most ill-considered business decisions over the course of 27. If you had a list of those, that would be high on it. It was a catastrophe. They gave you huge amounts of money for it, and it just fell apart shortly after, and has been struggling ever since to reinvent itself. They just bought the Huffington Post for a couple $100 million a while ago. Now it's like Huffington Post is going to take a more and more active role in the thing. It's one of these. Somebody once said about a large corporation, this place is like a dinosaur. You could put a bullet in its brain today, and it'll be 12 years before its tail stops thrashing. AOL is one of those corporations. Yahoo may or may not be one of those. Browsers, Paul talked about. Search, Paul talked about. We're moving right along. And the web takes off. I mean, I don't know what year this is. It doesn't matter. The curves will look the same if I move it up another 3 years or whatever. But it continues to grow with consequences I'll come to in a moment. You've also got, and Paul mentioned this, and also you've got to think that this is just not the technologies involved here. Isn't just the networking technology and so on. It's, for instance, the personal computer, which Paul talked about. It's the modem, the Hayes Smart Modem, 1981, crucial development because it can dial for you. You don't have to actually dial the number. Wait till you get the. Anybody make that noise? The whistle, buzz kind of noise that none of you heard. But when you heard that, you push the switch and the modem would click in and start communicating over another protocol. Hayes, 1981, mentioned you could just instantly hook in and get your 300 baud connection, which was enough to transmit a sentence like this at about this speed. But who knew? Right? We didn't know it was faster. Search. We come finally to a point where the internet is becoming an international phenomenon. You can locate this. The 80s, really, it's in the 90s that the internet, and particularly the web, become something that everybody wants to have. And as Paul, I love this figure that Paul uses, which on the bottom shows the Pacific and Orient lines of the steamboats where they go. Oh, the telegraph, and the internet cables, which just replicate that because it's the same connection between the same developed and undeveloped world. The internet, and this is sort of the slide we should put up to introduce the whole last part of the class. Frances Cairncross is a British, she's an economist or she's an economist? She's a writer. Yeah, editor of the economist. I didn't know the And she published a long list of all the epochal changes that are going to take place in virtue of having the internet in the world. From the death of distance, we've heard that story before, and we'll hear it again next time. Increased mobility, deluge of information, increased brand value, changes in corporate culture, and so on and so forth. Behind? I'll come to that. We'll come to global peace if we can by the end of the hour. Because we're the world. We're all connected. Isn't it obvious? You'll recall that similar arguments were made about the telegraph. Paul will tell you next time. The similar arguments were made about the telegraph. Once we can all talk to each other and share the common experience, it increases world understanding. I'm going to talk in the remaining 20 minutes or so about 3 of these: the decline of national authority, and in particular the rise of English and of communities of culture. It is